Koellers Auto Livery and Garage, 1918 to 1962. Herman Koeller, streetcar driver, with spouse Etta and children Gertrude and Everesta, boarded the train with their farm equipment in 1910, ticketed one way to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, where they offloaded wagons, equipment, and horses for their cross-country trip on the Redcoat Trail to the homestead at Corval, Saskatchewan. Herman, after a few years of work at the homestead, realized that his hay fever was a handicap in farm labors. He also determined that the homestead chosen, sight unseen, was the poorest homestead in the area. He began a search for a business that could use his skills, finding a posting by A.E. Rogers of Admiral of an auto livery business and Ford dealership for sale. In 1918, they auctioned their equipment, rented the homestead, and relocated to Admiral. Herman promptly qualified for a chauffeur's license in the province of Saskatchewan, and he enjoyed meeting business people at the train station and chauffeuring them around on business calls. He frequently took the sick to hospitals in larger towns and to train stations for further connections. A frequent trip was taking folks to Havre, Montana, to connect them into the United States train network, including to make trips to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, New York. In the 1920s, when Herman sold a Model A or Model T Ford, he also gave a driving lesson and helped license the driver. A technique that he had was to give the new driver instructions on a tour of the perimeter of Admiral, then pass by Koeller's Auto Livery, where Herman would jump from the moving car, sending the driver home to his family. From reports that he received, often drivers, after saying "whoa, whoa," forgot how to stop the automobile when they got home and drove it around until running out of gasoline. Herman therefore calculated carefully the amount of fuel the farmer needed to get home, which was pumped to the fuel tank, and the same amount was poured into a red gasoline can so the driver could refuel and come to Herman for a second driver lesson. Herman and Etta resided at the Admiral Hotel upon arriving in Admiral. There was a serious flu that year, and Herman became very sick. An elderly gentleman sat by Herman for a number of days, giving him spoons of broth until he recovered. Etta took over operating an infirmary for the sick on the second floor of the hotel. Caring for the sick was her first endeavor in Admiral. Etta was an excellent seamstress, making wedding gowns and special dresses for the ladies. She creatively became a milliner, making matching hats for the ensembles. Etta accepted a term as town council of Admiral. She clerked at Buckwell's General Store, and she was a keen partner at Koeller's Auto Livery. The business did well in the 20s, but just prior to the Great Depression that started in 1929, the competitor Al Running of Standard Implements intercepted the Ford representative on his visit to Admiral. Apparently, the serving of alcohol became a motivation in Mr. Running, convincing Ford to cancel Herman as their dealer, transferring to Standard Implements. Therefore, in 1929, Herman attended the Dodge Brothers Convention in Regina, Saskatchewan, securing the Dodge dealership. From 1918 to 1962, the garage sold Imperial Oil Esso products for a total of 44 years. Shown in the slides are certificates of appreciation from Esso for the 20 and 30-year milestones. The family also secured a dealership from the Cockshot Plow Company. Included are photos of Herman with a combine, disker, seeder, and tractor sales. We also include advertisements from Cockshot and the Badge of Merit. Arnold, Herman's son, took courses that helped maintain the dealership over a number of years. Collecting receivables was difficult in the 30s, and evidence is shown in the transfer of a potato patch from Auto Listi in exchange for debts owed. In the 30s, Herman sold a 1928 2-ton federal truck 3 times on terms. Each time the purchaser defaulted on the payments, returning it. Herman finally got the message and put his son Arnold, then 20 years old, to work hauling coal from the Shawneman mine. They inventoried the coal at Koellers' garage, and the municipalities paid us to distribute the coal to the needy. In 1939, Etta applied to the town for a permit to construct a new garage at a cost of $1,400, which would be less than $1 per square foot. It included a metal exterior and a nice paint job advertising Sonny's Auto, which was a nickname for Herman. Koellers' garage through the 40s and 50s employed Arnold as a mechanic welder. Gerald, Donna, and Everett did chores. We all distributed newspapers and magazines to our regular clients. Jerry and Everett were frequent companions of their father, making calls on the farmers in the area. Arnold was an expert welder mechanic and was in demand to keep the farm equipment operating. He worked late into the night and around the clock at seeding and harvest time. Herman passed away in 1957 at the age of 75. Etta and Arnold continued to operate the garage until 1961, although the business was shrinking and becoming tougher. The farmers were getting electric welders and learning the trade, so the easier jobs they could do themselves, leaving less for hire. Automobiles and farm equipment improved and didn't require as much major repair. The small farmers could not make a living on 320 acres, so they were selling, and the number of farmers in the community was reducing. In 1961, Arnold became the postmaster and credit union manager. Etta and Everett then reduced the pricing on the garage inventory, and after another year of operations, the doors were closed, completing a 44-year term as Koellers' Garage, Admiral, Saskatchewan.